Namaste, beautiful yogis. Today we are demonstrating a quick sequence for rebalancing your hips. It's for your iliopsoas, it's for tailbone, hip alignment, any type of pain around the tailbone. Anytime you need to rebalance your pelvis or your hips, you can come to this sequence. It's very quick, very easy, beginner friendly, and we are gonna get started in a very simple stretch, butterfly on the floor. So make sure that you're warmed up before you do this. You can do it after a workout or a yoga session so that you can use on warmed up muscles, you can use the fact that you're warmed up so that you can stretch. And since it's good for beginners as well, you can, it doesn't matter where you're at. If you're a little higher here and your knees are a little higher, you can use your elbows to press your calves out to the side. Yeah, and just stretch for another breath, one more breath maybe here. And breathe into your lower back here, because this particular stretch is affecting all the muscles that are around supporting the tailbone. Great, and from here we can release the legs in front of us. Shake them, you can shake them a little bit, and from here you can just find your way back into down dog. Any way you find your way back, yeah, into an easy down dog. And for downward facing dog, your feet are going to be hip width apart, and your toes are going to be pointing directly forward, so don't flare your toes out. If anything, have them tiny bit in, because you're trying to have the outer edges of your feet parallel to each other. Spread the fingers wide open and lift the tailbone as high as you can. Relaxing the shoulders and widening the shoulders. Rotate the other way. And rotating the triceps in, yeah. Good. And from here you're just going to take the right leg between your hands for pigeon and lower it down so the shin bone comes down, and look down. Make sure that your hips are level, they're equal distance from the floor, and you can either stay here or you can lower forward with the spine elongated. The one thing to remember here is that your hips are supposed to be level with the floor, which means they're equal distance from the floor, and when someone looks at you from above, you can use your body awareness here. They are also square. The hips are square and they're equal distance from the floor, as Laura is demonstrating here. Hers are very well aligned, so that's what you're aiming for. If it takes you a while to get there, that's fine. Take your time, but always aim for awareness about where your hips are situated in space, and always aim to square them a little more as time goes. There's no perfection, they're never going to be 100% square, but you want to have that intention and bring them to be somewhat square. You don't want to lift one leg, one hip off the floor and the other towards the floor. And demonstrate, this would be a misaligned hip where she's tilting on one side and she's laying towards the right side and the left hip is lifting. So if that's happening to you, you can actually scoot over, allowing, if your foot is a little too far from the floor, from you can just move your body forward and roll onto even on top of the shin bone. That way you are able to square the hips, yeah. And that was one side. You can go back to down dog and change sides at your convenience. Here we're not so much focused on the transition, we're just focused on stretching the hip and maintaining okay, good enough alignment. Don't get too caught up in perfection, because there is no perfection in any pose, but try your best to align without worrying too much about alignment at the same time. Great, so coming out of this, you can gently come out of this, yeah, bring your legs in front of you. And from here, you are going to need a strap and a block for the next segment. So Laura is gonna slowly lower herself down onto the ground, and she's going to bring the long side of the block. Actually, let's try first this, and you can bring the strap. You can bring it around your knees. So see if you can do that. If it's not wide enough, you can adjust it. No, this side though. You're going to need this side, So maybe adjust it a little bit. So basically bring the strap around your knees, and the medium side of the block, not the very wide side and not the thinnest side, but the medium, exactly, between your knees. So keep your calves parallel to the floor. You can flex your feet. And what we're gonna do is 5 to 10 reps here. She's going to squeeze the block with her knees. So they're squeezing in, and then she's going to press out into the strap, and then squeeze in, really squeeze and press out. That's rebalancing the hips, and again squeeze in. How is that?
It feels really good.
That can rebalance your hips very quickly. Just 5 reps sometimes are enough. The squeezing motion and then the pressing out motion. One more.
I can feel that in my sciatic nerve.
That's for sciatica too, And one last rep, unless you feel like you could do a couple more, if you feel like it. Yes, I love this one. It's just that you need a few props for it, so that's the only tricky part, is that you do need the block and the strap. Right, so from here, we're done. Take it out. You don't want to do too many of those, just in 5 to 10 reps. And from here, she is going to bring her right hand just above her knee and her left hand just below her knee. So she's going to press her left leg into the hand and resist with the hand. So the left leg is pressing away from her, and the right leg is pressing into her hand towards her. And then she's gonna change the hands. It requires a little bit of brain work. And
strength.
And changing sides. So hold for a breath or for a second or two on each side and shift. And press and pull basically. So that's the tricky part, because you're pressing forward and pulling away, pushing and pulling. So it requires a little bit of focus, but once you get it, it's another pose that's very valuable for rebalancing that general area: pelvis, hips, iliopsoas. And make sure that you finish on the side that you didn't start with.
That's this way.
Okay, and now last one, you're going to extend your legs down on the ground. Grab the strap and bring it around your right foot. And straighten the leg. And from here, square your hips and make sure that your right hip is on the ground. So and from here you can begin to move your right leg towards to the left, not too far, very little, because you want to only stretch the iliopsoas. So it's a really tiny little stretch, and the hips are absolutely aligned here.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's a deep stretch, but very tiny.
When I pressed this hip back down, I felt it then.
That's what you're looking for. It's not like, it's almost like I'm not even seeing you're doing anything. It's a very little move over to the left, but because you're keeping the alignment of the hips, And you can hold this for another breath. It's really deep. It's in the psoas. And then the opposite side. So you are keeping the left hip down, and you're beginning to move that left leg over to the right, but it's a very small move because because if you have any, you will feel it. And don't go deep with this. You're not supposed to go deep. You're supposed to find the psoas, and it's really difficult to stretch the psoas muscle. So that is one way to stretch it. And it's a very small move. It's not a big twisty pose or anything like that, but it's a very effective one.
That this hurts means I need to be doing this, doesn't it?
Well, it depends on the pain. If it's like really painful, you mean
Kind of
it's
a good,
stretch.
like
Okay.
a good one,
Yeah.
but very distinct.
But you can tell that it's doing its work. Yeah, pain no, but if you feel like, oh God, I need to stretch there. And keeping the feet flexing the way she is, yeah, active feet. And coming out of this, and you can come back up to a comfortable seated cross-legged position.